Hi, everybody. Welcome to this Jimmy Dore show. We have a special guest with us, Katie Halper, on the line. Now, Katie, hi, Katie. How are you?
Hi, good. You?
Now, if you don't know who Katie is, Katie does the Katie Halper show, and she's been on our show before, but she's now hosting the Rolling Stone podcast with Matt Taibbi, and I'm a guest on it this week. Correct?
Yeah, it's great. It's a great app. People have been loving it. We got video, we got audio. You were great. Everyone loves the episode.
Okay, so, well, I'm glad you're here because today I wanted to talk to you. By the way, so Rolling Stone has a YouTube channel and everything. So they could go to the Rolling Stones YouTube channel and check out the video of us. They have a podcast. It's the same thing. And it's you and the great Matt Taibbi. And your first guest was Tulsi Gabbard. Your second guest was, I don't know. And the third guest is me.
Ellie Valley. You were the third, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's called Useful Idiots, and you can find it on iTunes and Spotify and, and YouTube.
Anywhere you find podcasts. All right, so I want to talk with Katie. I'm glad you're here. I'm also here. Ron Placone and the Miserable Liberal are here. And Mike Preisner, who's another friend of the show, he does the Eyes Left podcast. He says, so Kamala Harris spoke at the Healthcare Justice Labor Day rally today at Kaiser Hospital, where workers got arrested demanding greedy multi-billion-dollar Kaiser bargain a new contract. She did not say healthcare or Kaiser once. And it turns out she's a top recipient of Kaiser cash. And so here it is. And so you can see this. There she is right there. Top recipients. And Kamala Harris, there she is. She's one of the top recipients of Kaiser cash.
Looks good.
So what this is, to me, this is just Hillary Clinton 2.0. This is try to get people to vote for identity politics, right? Hey, I'm a woman. It's time for a woman in the White House. It's not time for a corporatist woman in the White House. What do you say to that, Katie?
Well, as people probably know, I'm a big Bernie Sanders fan. I also like things about Tulsi. Bernie is my guy, though, and I would rather someone whose policies are good for people, all people, but if we want to have better lives and more justice for disenfranchised people, for people of color, for LGBTQ people and women, I'd rather have good policies for those people than just someone who represents those groups demographically, but doesn't represent them in terms of interests and politics and policies. So,
yeah. I mean, Ben Carson is African American, but I don't think he really advocates for the African American community.
Not so much.
Right?
Nope.
Okay.
No, Condi doesn't advocate for women or African Americans. She doesn't advocate for anyone living outside the United States who, had their lives ruined by Bush's foreign policy, for example. Although we talked about about Colbert on the episode that we did with you, and he had her on last night or this week.
He had who on?
Condoleezza Rice.
Oh, Condoleezza. As you said, Condi. I didn't know who you were talking about.
Sorry, yeah. We're friends, yeah.
Yeah. So that's when people go on and they talk about Robert De Niro and they call him Bobby. That's kind of like what you're doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Condi McGee.
So doesn't it just seem unbelievably like they're trying to beat Trump with, again, Trump light? So Steve Mnuchin is in Trump's cabinet as the Secretary of Treasury. Steve Mnuchin was also not prosecuted by Kamala Harris at One West Bank, even though her own investigators said they found 1,000 instances of criminality, and if they looked farther, they'd find 1,000 more. Nobody got prosecuted. She never answered why that would happen. Here she is giving a speech at a Kaiser event when their workers are getting arrested, and she doesn't mention it. And she doesn't mention. I mean, how do they possibly think they're going to beat Trump with this?
I mean, there are two issues. One is the electability issue for sure, right? Like, and if you don't, you don't beat right-wing radicalism and right-wing populism with kind of milquetoast, middle-of-the-road politics. The other thing is just, though, in terms of, if you care about. You can't pretend to care about Trump's victims and the victims of Trumpism and then have someone who doesn't advocate for their interests. And I think one of the scariest things, and we talked about this with you, we talked about this with Tulsi on our podcast, is watching how Kamala Harris just silences very legitimate policy-based criticism through smears. And we saw this with Tulsi and Harris, and you talked about this a lot, right? When Gabbard gave a great, very respectful, just policy-based critique of Harris's past and her record. And her only response to that was later on was that she's an Assad apologist. And of course, I kind of expect that, sadly, from politicians. And I should expect it from the media, but I'm still a little disturbed that they do that. I mean, watching CNN and MSNBC just parrot these talking points, and you and your listeners and viewers know this better than anyone because this is one of your major focuses. But I will text you and I'll be like, "Can you believe ABC happened XYZ?" And you're like, "Yeah, of course I can believe that." I'm like, "Yeah, all right, fine, yeah, you're right, you're right."
Yes. Everybody, we're doing a live show every Sunday in October in Hollywood, California at the Sycamore Tavern. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for tickets and become a patron. We give you hours of bonus material every month. Become a premium member. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com and sign up. Thanks for your support.